Teaching and Talking Science with Travis and Duan.
Morning, Travis. This morning we had a chat with Clarke Webb talking about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories and cultures. The Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities have diverse cultures, social structures, and a history of unique, complex knowledge systems. Hope you enjoy the podcast.
You are here and we are teaching and talking science. My name is Travis Mackay and I'm Head of Science from Coffs Harbour High School. Joining me is of course Dr. Duan March, who is representing the Coffs Harbour Animal Rescue Trust, and our special guest for today is Mr. Clarke Webb, who is a proud Gumbaynggirr man. Clarkey, how you going?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Clarkey, you've got tons of stuff that you do. Before we get to that, tell us a little bit about yourself growing up in the Coffs Harbour area and how that's led to you being here today.
Basically I grew up at Nana Glen, just in the Coffs Coast hinterland, but I went to your school, Coffs Harbour High School, where I went from year 7 right through to year 12, and then after that I moved to Sydney for a while and completed uni, and was part of the founding group that started AIM, Australian Indigenous Mentoring Experience. And I've since moved home and started an Aboriginal corporation called Buldi Moolan Yungan Aboriginal Corporation, or BEMANAC. And I've recently just started this year Wajana Yam Gumbaynggirr Adventure Tours. So we do stand-up paddling and cultural tours around the Coffs Coast. So that's me.
Okay, all right. So on that, our languages matters, the NAIDOC theme, and that's something you're fairly passionate about as well?
Yeah, so through our corporation, that's probably our highest priority is to teach and revitalise our language, Gumbaynggirr. And we do that through weekly classes. We teach at our after-school learning centres, and we run Gumbaynggirr immersion camps. So we're trying to really make sure that our youth know their language.
All right. I guess science in its traditional form is perhaps very different to science that we're teaching in the classroom these days. I wonder if you could talk a bit about perhaps the way the Gumbaynggirr groups used to use the Coffs Harbour area, 20,000 years ago. How is it different? So, for example, the seasons, we teach our kids about the traditional seasons of the calendar. How was that in traditional times?
Yeah, it's a really good one. But before seasons, I was just thinking as a use of the land and the science. And there's a real science around fire stick farming, a real science, and it's starting to become a lot more acknowledged now. But our old people were continually burning, and what that did was keep everything ripe. It attracted kangaroos at certain times, so it made it easy for hunting, but also the refurbishment of plants, species, and all that type of stuff. So there's a real farming, fire stick farming happening right in Coffs Harbour. That's not really widely spoken about, and so we can actually, when we revitalise our language, we can actually find out a little bit more of that. So up at Bruxner Park, Sealy Lookout, that mountain, in Gumbaynggirr it is called Nigi Nigi. So Nigi in Gumbaynggirr is charcoal, and when we double that word up to make Nigi Nigi, charcoalish, and so that tells us that over time, all those thousands of years, that was completely burnt, all the time, continually burnt, both hot and cold fires, and
So how do you have a cold fire?
Yeah, so a cold fire is one. So like we get a bushfire now, right?
Yeah.
And the reasons that the bushfires today are so devastating is because that traditional practice around burning the undergrowth is not happening anymore. So when you burn, you're burning all the debris, basically.
Yeah.
So when you can do that every 2 years, it means that the fire doesn't get too hot. So it's it's still hot, obviously, but it's not like one that goes 50 metres in the air. It just stays at a lower level. So the tops of trees were never burnt.
Yeah, okay.
It was just all under, and that's what we call a cool burn.
Because some plants actually need fire, don't
That's
they?
right. To reproduce and all that, and so that's what our old people figured out, and that was their science that they had.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in this area, we've probably lost that a little bit, but we're trying to get it back, that science. And as I said, through language, we can find out more of that. So the name of Sealy Lookout, Nigi Nigi. Old people continually burning it to maintain views, but also to maintain the seasons.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, that's going to be super important because with Indigenous culture, there's not a lot written down.
No,
is
that's
there,
right.
historically. You know?
That's
so
right.
without revitalising that language, you're going to lose all that, knowledge from generation past. Yeah.
That's right. And so when we talk about seasons, as you said, Travis, we tend to think of it from a Western viewpoint, right? So we've got summer, spring, autumn, winter. Those 4 seasons. And in Goomba, people have been saying, oh, we've only got 2 seasons, hot and cold, summer and winter. But then what do we actually classify a season? We've got to really think about that, because there's different things that happen in our nature that tell us different things. So for example, the paperbark tree, when that flower is blossoming, we know that I'm trying to think of the exact fish. There's an exact fish that is running when that's flowering. I just can't quite remember the fish.
And that's like a temperature thing. When it's hot or it's cold, and that flower comes out, the conditions are right for that fish to run as well.
Yes, that's right. So, so when that flower's on, that certain fish is running. When that bark falls off that tree, paper barks, the bark will fall off. That you don't go in the ocean because there's sharks chasing them fish. So all these little clues that you get from the landscape are there. Is that a season? It happens at a certain time of the year. Yeah. Is it a season or is it not?
I don't know. I mean, there's such a disconnect now. Like, we're taught summer, winter, spring, autumn, but I mean,
as the day starts, as the day finishes.
You go to the shop and you get your meat, or you go and get your fish, and you don't need. Yeah, but I guess if you're living off the land, and you need to know those little.
And even when the wattle's on, around August. Yeah. August, September, when the wattle's blooming, that tells us that the mullet's in the river. And the river's in the hinterland. Yeah. That they're running. So there's all these different clues that you get from what's happening, and is that considered a season? And you know yourself that the wattle blossoms for a good month or over a month. So is that a season?
Yeah, that's super interesting. So you're using, there'd be heaps of different things where, the berries would be here and that, and it's just getting that full ecosystem, food web, interaction thing that, I've got no idea about, and I do. I go fishing and school fishing, and all of that, all those links between the terrestrial and the marine.
That's right. So, so that's what. That's sort of. So think about seasons. We need to, from an Aboriginal point of view, we need to decolonise the way we think about it. What I mean by that is actually try and take our minds out of a Western concept and just think about that from an Aboriginal point of view. And then, do we consider that a season or do we not? That's a question for you.
Yeah. So you've got this focus on revitalising language. Is there a push to revitalise some of this connect to the land too? Like, when the paperbark is flowering, trying to find that fish. Are those practices kind of
language does that for us. Yeah. So when we say we're revitalising language actually carries a culture. Yeah. So, and it carries, because in our culture, if you think of a stool with 3 legs, one of those legs is people, one is land, and one is language. Mm-hmm. So you can see how language ties all that together. And so it's all, so when we revitalise language, we revitalise all this other stuff. All the stuff that's to do with the land and what's happening, and the culture. And so that's why language is so important to us, because it reconnects our people. So the language connects the people back with the land. Yeah, basically. So.
Yeah. And do you think that as that language is revitalised and that culture comes back, do you think that traditional kind of hunting techniques and lifestyle techniques will come back?
Yeah. There's a lot of environmental devastation that has made it impossible in certain places to do that.
Because sustainability was something that Gamanga people were really good at.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we know we're the world's oldest surviving cultures, we're the world's first peoples, pretty much, and we're also the world's first conservationists and ecologists and scientists. Yeah. So a lot of those secrets are there, and if things had been different in our history, been done differently, we'd have all that information readily available. Unfortunately, because of devastation to our culture, over time, there's information that's been lost, unfortunately, and but also the devastation, not only to our culture, the devastation to the environment that's happened has cut that connect a lot of the time. So I can't go through the law. I can't be initiated into Goombanga law because the places that we need to get to do it, a lot of times the environmental destruction is there, but also the fences and private property and all that kind of stuff has meant there's a disconnect. And it's unfortunate for me that I can't go through law, because that means that I feel like I'm missing a bit of who I am, but it also means that I'm missing out on the science of that traditional way, which is unfortunate.
Do you reckon in the future or the near future there's the possibility to kind of bridge that gap, or like combine science with traditional cultural practices? And
there's definitely an ability to bridge the gap, to get it back to to get what we can, basically. Unfortunately, it's really, really very, probably 90% unlikely that I'll ever be able to go through the law to do that side of it, to go through the initiation. But I've certainly been finding out more information about it, about what was involved, and about some of the areas that are involved with the law, and that in itself is empowering, and that also gives us little clues to the science of it. Unfortunately, we'll probably never be able to get back the whole picture. It's like a puzzle that we're putting together, and we'll get bits of the puzzle in there, but we won't have the whole puzzle. I don't think.
Is education, is that the key to what some of the practices that were good, that did work? You do a bit as well in trying to teach people some traditional ways. You're out on the waterways now. Doing what you can to
I think it's
to teach people.
I think the starting point is getting people to see the value in it, as well. First of all, see the value in all these traditional practices, conservation and science, and to then engage in it a little bit. So there's stories of farmers taking on the traditional practices to revitalise their land and that sort of stuff. So there's that side of the education that's important to doing it.
Yeah, so those the tours that you do, the stand-up paddleboard tours, they're predominantly Indigenous people, white people. You get a mix.
Yeah, a mix. So we have all Aboriginal guides who guide that tour, and that guarantees authenticity and the knowledge that people from all walks of life who participate on our tours receive, and that's really important. And so along those tours, people learn these traditional methods. They learn the bush tuckers. They learn but not just bush tucker, but the uses of the plants. So there's all different uses. So in our bush, that's right. So in our bush, a lot of people refer to the bush as our supermarket, our pharmacy, and our hardware store. So your Woolworths, your pharmacy, and your Bunnings. So it's all there in the bush.
With zero carbon.
That's right. That's right. So exactly. Zero carbon footprint. It's all there. Everything that we need to thrive and to continue as a culture is all there in the bush, and it's always been there, and it's still there. But the connect is just a little bit broken at the moment.
Yeah, and I guess we've got a different framework now. We've got more people. We've got a certain amount of environmental impact that's already happened. But the more you can educate, the more you can bring these people in and talk about how these practices historically were sustainable.
That's right. That's right. And as I said, hopefully get that respect for it, and then hopefully people engage in it. And because I think what it highlights to me, all those traditional practices, is a real and genuine love for the country. A really interconnected love for where you are. And if we can get everyone to kind of feel that same way for the country, and through that education, hopefully we can see more of less environmental destruction.
There's something really soulful about getting catching fish and eating it, or getting your hands dirty, and that's
exactly. So
Well, Aboriginal people have been teaching and talking science for more than 40,000 years. Thanks for your time, Clarke Webb.
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Smooth finish.
Yada yada.
Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed the podcast. A big thanks to Clarke Webb, Travis Mackay from Coffs Harbour High School, and I'm Duan March from the Coffs Harbour Animal Rescue Trust. See you next time.